Hello, everybody. I'm going to take on a very controversial subject: achieving work life balance. Now, half of you in the audience, maybe 75% of you in this audience, are chuckling. What in blazes does he mean? What in the heck does he know about work life balance? I mean, I don't even know what it is. I wonder if he does. See, I know you're thinking that. And I'm going to clear all this up for you. But before I do that, I want to ask you something. I'd like you to consider subscribing to the Entre YouTube channel and peruse the Entrepreneurship in Action playlist and the many others we have available to you, all about entrepreneurship in all respects and the disciplines of business. So please subscribe. I think you'll be happy you do. I think you're going to find a lot of value in what we have provided for you. So please do so. With that little advertisement, let's get back to the subject at hand here. It's totally non-controversial, isn't it? And I know that you all have opinions on this, but I worked for I worked at IBM for many years, and several other companies, and we struggled with this work-life balance thing. I can remember one executive I worked for just loved to be confronted with in a staff meeting or something like that, and somebody says, for our sake of all of us and our employees, we need better work-life balance. And she should sit back in her chair and chuckle a little bit with a twinkle in her eye, and would calmly say, "Well, what is that?" And I usually stumped the audience. Sometimes we actually discussed it and could never agree on anything about it. What does it mean? What is the right balance? Is it 8 hours at work, 10 hours at work, leaving 1 hour at home? What the heck is it? The reason, just to put you out of your misery here just a minute, there is no single answer. That's why everybody was having difficulty answering the question. There is no single answer. The answer is individual. The answer is found within the family, first and foremost, as to what work-life balance means. So if you're married, you have a spouse of any kind, husband or wife or other, you work out the answer between you. First and foremost, there's an understanding that you've got a family. It starts with you and your spouse, works out from there as children come along. You got grandmas and grandpas and uncles and aunts and nephews and nieces, and the list goes on, of lots of people that you have family commitments to fulfill at one time or another during the course of a year. So this single answer has got to come from the two of you. No baloney. You've got to talk it through. And it's a serious conversation, because this is the way you are going to conduct your lives. Sounds like a big picture kind of thing, but there's some basic things that you're going to want to accomplish. It's almost like you have this little two-person company and you're figuring out what your culture and your strategy and your plan is for the two of you. No, that may be a lousy analogy, but I kind of think of it that way. This requires communication between you and your spouse. No baloney. So you got to work it out, and you got to believe it, and you got to be satisfied with the implications of what you choose this balance to be. There are implications. Less time at work, maybe less, upward growth and increase in salary and higher levels of responsibility, because you only have a certain amount of time you're going to spend at work. This is something you work out with your spouse, but it will be reflected in the way you execute it at work. But you're okay with it, because the most important thing in your life is your family. And you've agreed with your partner in life on what it is we're about to do. And we're going to live with it and be happy about it. There you go. So once you've established that, then you can go back to work and happily be able to participate in, at least first of all, understanding the purpose of this company. and the purpose of what makes this company tick in context with your purpose as a family person. So having a purpose and understanding the purpose of the organization you have joined as an employee or an executive, and go from there. With that, you know the trade-offs that are going to have to be made in your work life, in at least what they could be, but the trade-offs in time and the time you're going to be willing to spend at work. So with an idea of purpose and knowing what your trade-offs are, the trade-offs you're willing to make, if you're the executive of the company or running the company or the founder of the company, you're going to make darn sure that you've got a solid, well understood culture that's agreed upon and the top team is together on, that there is a strategy, a business strategy for this company that's well worked out and refined, and an operating plan to execute it. You must have these three things. Without it, you have chaos. Chaos. And what that will mean is you will never get things done because things are happening ad hoc and in random order, because there's no direction, there's no culture, there's no understanding of who we are as a team, how we relate to one another. The strategy is unclear. We're not sure what we're trying to achieve. Our mission is mushy. But worse yet, we don't have an operating plan. We just do projects. You don't want to be in a company like that. If you are a person that's committed to this single answer of what work-life balance means to you and your family, you don't want to be in a company like that. If you're running the company, you don't want to run a company like that, because you running it are not going to be very happy, because you won't have work-life balance. Worse yet, all the employees of your company won't either. So you're going to have a whole group of people that aren't very happy. So make sure that you are in a company that really finds culture, strategy, and plan kind of important. Now, once you've got that, you need some more stuff. This list goes on. Watch what happens next. You got to have the best people, the very best. I call them A players, no B players. A plus players, people better than you, even better than A players. But the best people that fit into the culture, that you can trust, that you have experience, have the wisdom necessary to do the job that you're wanting them to do, is a key member of the company. Whether it's key management, key employees, the best of the best. If you don't have this, you're going to spend a lot of time training people, and that'll slow you down. It's going to take more time. You're going to have to explain things to people that don't quite understand what they're supposed to be doing. So in order to have some form of almost immediate efficiency, hiring the best people, paying them well, so they stay with you and you can rely on them for a long period of time. Get the best of the best. And when you have the best of the best, guess what you can do? You can rely on them to get stuff done. This is a culture built on trust, right? Well, you trust them. You've hired the best. And when you have this operating plan all laid out, you've got people in key positions that absolutely know how to execute their role in the company, whether it's marketing or sales or development or manufacturing or supply chain management, customer support, the list goes on. They are the best to handle all of that. You don't need to tell them what to do. They know what to do. They'll tell you what they're going to do, in fact. This is the kind of best people I'm talking about, to whom you are delegating the authority and the accountability to act. Wow. That means I don't have to be holding their hand for endless hours of the day. They don't want their hand held. They want you to now get out of the way and let them execute. You can go ask them how they're doing, give them suggestions, mentor them to make them better executives, and And you will find life is a whole lot easier because of the things you now have done to get your company in a position where lots of people can achieve work-life balance, including you. So now with that, you got more family time. That getting home by 6 sounds like it might be achievable. That objective of having weekends free is also quite achievable. You don't have to show up at work at 6 a.m. You can show up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, that kind of thing. You can have breakfast with your family. You get home for dinner and have some family time, watch television with them, help them with their homework, tuck them in at night, read them a story, all these wonderful family things you have now time to do, if that's what you want. So I'm going to go back to the basic principles. You have a purpose, and that purpose is to have a single answer for what family time means, and that you know the trade-offs, you build off of your culture as a company, you rely on the very best people to whom you delegate authority and accountability, and you have time for family. But it all starts with you. No single answer, but it starts with you and your spouse. And once you figure it out, you go from there, and you're going to live your life a whole lot more simple and much more reliably. So there you go. I hope this is helpful, that you've got a view of your role in figuring out how to achieve work-life balance. It all comes from you, and you live with it. I wish you the best with this. Have a great day.